Okay, in this lesson, we're going to talk about equations of lines. We're talking mostly focusing on your slope-intercept and your point-slope form. First, our warm-up is to find the slope of the line that contains these points. Here again is your slope formula that we've talked about. So here's our x1, y1, our x2, y2. We'll go ahead and plug in y2, 7, minus the y1, minus a negative 5. Make sure you have both of those there. Okay, then we have x2 minus x1. x2 is 4. We're going to subtract x1 of 2. We put these into the calculator, or if we look at it just, okay, well, 7 minus negative 5 is a 12. 4 minus 2 is 2. We're going to come up with a slope of 6. So on the next warm-up problem, we're looking at writing the equation of a line that is perpendicular. Went ahead and highlight or minus. This is opposite reciprocal. Change the sign and flip the fraction. Okay, I teach my kids change the sign and flip that fraction. Kind of sounds like a game show there. So what we're going to do here is take a look at our slope in the original equation, which is negative 2 over 3. We want to take the perpendicular slope, in with the perpendicular signs, but okay, this is our perpendicular slope. We're going to change negative to positive. We're going to take the 2 over 3, and we're going to switch it to 3 over 2. So this is the formula that we're going to, this is the slope we're going to use. So all we really need to do here is replace that slope, the negative 2 over 3. I'm not asking, hey, that passes through a certain point or anything like that. We're just going to change that slope to a positive 3 over 2x plus 7. Okay, we're just going to change that slope, leave it, let it have the exact same y-intercept. All right, let's talk about our slope-intercept forms. A lot of Algebra 1 in here, okay? Your first one, slope-intercept, is going to provide you with m, the slope, and b, the y-intercept. So this is your y equals mx plus b. We're going to write in slope-intercept form an equation of a line with a slope of 2 and a y-intercept of 0, negative 6. There's your coordinates, okay? So looking here, we take first, we look at slope of 2. So this is what's going to go in place of m. And then your y-intercept, right here, you're just going to take what y equals. This is your y-intercept because x is 0. Your y-intercept is where x is 0. So we take a look here, y equals m, our slope of 2, x, and we do plus b. Keep in mind, we have plus a negative, so that becomes a minus 6. And there is our equation. Your point slope form, we're going to be given a point, x and y coordinates, and the slope m. So this is where we have y minus y1 equals m parentheses x minus x1. The y1 and x1 are the coordinates of the point they give you. M will be the slope. So in point slope form, we're going to write a line with the slope of 2. So there's m. And we've got the coordinates negative 1, 4. So your negative 1 is going to go in place of x1, and your 4 is going to go in place of y1. So following our formula here, we have y. We want y minus y1. So we look at y1. Okay, it's a positive 4, so we just plug in minus 4, all equal to m, our slope of 2. We're going to open up those parentheses, and we're going to have x minus x1. So x minus, our x coordinate, minus a negative is going to change to a plus 1. Okay, make sure you're getting those pluses and minuses correct. Now we're going to write an equation in slope-intercept form. First thing we need to pay attention to so we know exactly what form to write this in. This will be the y equals mx plus b. And we're going to write the equation, and we're going to go ahead and graph it as well. It's going to have a slope of 3, so there's m, and it's going to have a y-intercept of negative 2. There's b. So y equals m, our slope, 3, x plus b. Again, we have plus a negative, so this will turn to a minus 2. So let's take a look first at our y-intercept at -2. We're going to go to -2 on the y-axis right here. And we're going to apply our slope of 3/1. Remembering that our slope is going to be a rise over a run. So with the 3, this is going to turn into a 3/1. Rise 3, run 1. We're going to be, remember, your rise can be an up or down depending on if it's a positive or negative. We have a positive slope, so we're going to go up 3, 1, 2, 3, run 1. And when you're graphing this, I suggest you go ahead and go do a couple of these points. Go the opposite direction too. Instead of up 3, right 1, go down 3, left 1. Get a couple of those points on there in both directions. It'll make it a lot easier to draw that line in. And then here we go. It doesn't have to be perfect, but we should have our line right there. The next problem, we're going to write an equation in point slope form. And we're going to be using the slope of -3/4. And the coordinates that they gave us are going to be -2, which will be our x1, and +5, which will be our y1. Again, this is going to be in a y minus y1 equals m, sorry to squeeze it in there, x minus x1. So we're going to substitute in for y1, m, and x1. So here we go. Y minus our y1, so -5, will all be equal to m, our slope of -3/4, parentheses, we have x minus our x1. So minus that negative is going to be minus the negative, turn into a plus. And we graph this. All we have to do is graph this point and then apply our slope. So we're going to graph -2, 5. And we're going to apply our rise over run, -3/4. So that -3 tells us go down 3, 1, 2, 3, to the right, run 4, 2, 3, 4. Okay, again, not a bad idea to go ahead and get a couple of these on there. Makes it easier to connect these. Okay, so your line should look roughly like this. We're going to take this and we're going to convert it now into slope-intercept form. So I'm going to copy it down. And we're going to go ahead and convert to slope-intercept y equals mx plus b. All we need to do here is, first things first, we're going to bring down your y minus 5 equals, we're going to distribute the -3/4 to the x, giving us -3/4 x. And then we're going to distribute this -3/4 to a +2, giving us a minus or negative. Okay, it will turn to a negative, and 3/4 of 2 is 1.5. Now we need to move this y, the -5, over here to the other side, so y is by itself. So in doing this, we will add 5, just as if we are subtracting. Remember that add 5 needs to be added to the 1.5, not the 3/4 x. So here with y equals, nothing happens to -3/4 x. -1.5 plus 5 is going to give you a +3.5. And if we graph this perfectly, you would be able to see, ooh, I did a pretty good job. 1, 2, 3.5. That's where we should have crossed the y-axis. That is our y-intercept. So now, not using the graph, we're going to go ahead and write an equation of a line that passes through these, and we're going to put it in slope-intercept form. So in slope-intercept form, we do want to make sure that we are using the y equals mx plus b. And there are two different ways you can do this. You can do this, go ahead, we could put it into point slope using either one of these coordinates and then convert it to slope-intercept. So we can start off doing exactly what we did here, put it in here, and then we can convert it to this, or because this one right here gives you where x is 0, we have our y-intercept, we have what b is. I'm going to go ahead and quickly show you, I'll just do the slope-intercept on this one, we'll do some more converting down below. but I'm going to go ahead and transfer straight over. We're going to find the slope. We need to find our slope first, x1, y1, x2, y2, because we already have b, y-intercept. Parentheses, this is the b. So slope y2, -1, minus y1 of 3, x2, -2, minus x1, 0. We're going to end up coming up, if we do it step by step, or we plug in the calculator. If we do step by step, we're going to wind up with a -4 over -2. Remember, negative and negative becomes a positive. 4 divided by 2 gives you 2. So this is going to be m. Now we have m as 2 and we have b as 3. So all we need to do is plug into y equals mx plus b. Y equals 2x. And then b is a positive 3, so we just do plus that positive 3. And there's our answer. The next problem, I'm going to take point slope and then convert it. You can go and solve for b as well if you would like to. I like to just convert it, all right? So whenever I convert here, let's first, we need to find our slope. First things first, okay? Go ahead and look at x1, y1, x2, y2. y2 minus y1, -4 minus 4. x2 minus x1, 9 minus -7. When we calculate this out, we will find out that our slope is going to be -1/2. So when I put this into point slope before I convert it, we have two different points here. It does not matter which one you use, okay? It does not matter. So I'm going to use this first one of -7, 4. And I'm going to go ahead and plug into point slope. Here again is the formula for point slope. I'm going to take y minus y1, which was a 4, equals my slope. Here it is over here, -1/2, parentheses, x minus x1, minus negative is plus. So again, what we did earlier is we need to distribute over here. So we'll bring down our y minus 4 equals. I'm going to distribute the 1/2 to the x, simply just placing them right next to each other, 1/2 x. And then I'm going to distribute -1/2 to a positive 7. So this will come out to a negative. 1/2 of 7 in decimal form is 3.5. Now let's get this -4 minus 4 away from y so we can finish this problem out. We're going to add 4 to both sides, being careful what you're allowed to add to. Okay, you have to add to the minus 3.5. We will get y equals -1/2 x. We're going to end up with plus 0.5 or 0.5. Or if you want to put it as a fraction, 1/2 by all means. I find it easier to add and subtract with decimals rather than fractions. All right, now we're going to talk about Vux and Hoy, or Hoy and Vux, okay? When we have x equals a number and y equals a number, we're going to have this Hoy and Vux. X equals a number, okay? This is going to be the one with the x, Vux, V-U-X. And there's a place where you can write everything in here. I'm going to write completely off to the side here. Vux, V-U-X, is going to stand for, I'm going to kind of bold these a little bit so you can see the letters. Vux, V is vertical, so you will have a vertical line up and down. U is undefined, meaning you're going to have an undefined slope. The x tells you you're going to have an equation with x equals a number, just like we do right here. So x equals 2 means we're going to have an undefined slope, and it's going to be a vertical line. So let's take a look. Where x equals 2, go on your x-axis and find that. There's positive 2. We have a vertical line, meaning up and down, so it's going to cross through the x-axis right here. This is your x equals 2 equation. Now with Hoy, it ends in y, so it's going to be y equals a number. Hoy, H, O, and y. H stands for horizontal, for a horizontal line. The O is actually representing a 0. The number 0 means you have a 0 slope. And y is going to tell you your equation will be y equals a number. So y equals -4. Let's go find -4 on the y-axis. Here it is. And we're going to have a horizontal line that is going to cross through -4 on the y-axis. This will be your y equals -4. Okay? So let's take a look at the first problem here under this. We're going to write an equation of a line that passes through -2, 6, and 5, 6 in slope-intercept form. Okay? This is going to be your y equals mx plus b. So let's see exactly what happens here. We're going to take a look at our slope. Okay? Our slope is going to be, we have our x1s and y1s. We're going to take 6 minus 6, y2 minus y1. x2 minus x1 will be 5 minus -2. We're going to come out to 0 over 7. If you plug this into your calculator, it will tell you 0. A 0 is going to represent HOI, a horizontal line with a 0 slope, y equals a number. So to find b, let's figure out b. I want to show you how this works, okay? If you take b, start with your y equals mx plus b. We're going to plug in for y the slope m and x. We just take either one of these problems. Let's look at just what we have later. Any one of these points, we'll look at the one that says -2, 6. It's already labeled with x1 and y1. Y is going to be substituted with 6. Okay. M, your slope, is going to be substituted with that 0, because that's what we know as our slope. X, we're going to substitute in for that -2, because that's your x coordinate. Again, we're done with this coordinate here. We're only looking at that -2, 6. So the x coordinate was -2. And then we don't know what b is, so that's our variable. Step by step, we're going to see 0 times a -2 is just 0. Well, we don't, once we multiply it, we have 6 equals 0 plus b. We don't do 0 plus something or something plus 0. So this comes out to our b, our y-intercept, is going to be 6. Now, if we plug everything back in here, we're going to find out y equals our slope of 0, x, plus what's our b? 6. As we've already talked, 0 times anything is a 0. So this is why this ends up coming out to y equals a number. Y is going to equal 6. Okay? Another way you can look at it is, look what y is. We know HOI, y equals a number because it ends in y, so y equals whatever number the y coordinate is. All right, we're going to go ahead and take a look at perpendicular again. We're going to write an equation in slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept is y equals mx plus b. And we're going to have it perpendicular to this equation. And we're going to have it's going to contain the point 4, 0. Okay, so here first looking at, okay, your slope was -3. We want the perpendicular slope, so we're going to turn it positive. That -3 is a 3 over 1. Flip it to a positive 1/3. So here again, I always say OPP recip, opposite reciprocal. So we have y, we're going to start it in point slope and then convert it. Y minus our y coordinate, 0, is equal to our slope, 1/3, x minus our x coordinate, x minus 4. Okay? We can drop that 0 off because we don't need it. Now we go ahead and distribute. 1/3 times x gives you 1/3 x. And then 1/3 times a -4/3 is going to get a negative. Now this one I am going to go ahead and leave it as a fraction because we have 3 in the denominator and that becomes a repeating decimal. And this just ends up being -4/3. And this is going to be our equation. So we're looking at, hey, it's going to go through these points. Let's plug those into point slope. Okay? So let's go ahead and do a few more of these. We're going to write an equation in slope-intercept form. We're going to have a slope of -1/2, and it's going to have a y-intercept, that is our b, of 0.8. Slope-intercept is your y equals mx plus b. So all we need to do is plug in y equals the slope m of -1/2. We're not saying, hey, parallel or perpendicular. We're just looking at this is the slope, this is the y-intercept. So we have -1/2 x, and we have plus b. Our b is a +8. So all we have to do here is substitute in. Next, we're going to write an equation in point slope form. So this is your y minus y1 equals m parentheses x minus x1. We have a slope of 4, there's m. And then here we have our coordinates, our point, x and y. We're going to use it as our x1 and y1. We're going to substitute in 4 for m, and we're going to substitute -3 and -6 in for those x1 and y1s. Okay, so we have y minus, we're going to have minus the -6, so I'm going to go ahead and put it this way so you guys can see that, making sure that we're understanding minus negative, equals our slope of 4, and then we'll have parentheses x minus your x coordinate, -3. So your final answer, we need to go ahead and make that minus negative a +6, and then we're leaving it in point slope form. Guys, we're leaving it in point slope form, so we do not need to convert this one. And we do want to graph this, so all we need is that point, -3, 6. I want you guys to graph this on your own. The line is about to pop up just to save time on the video. There's what your line should look like. Mine got a little messed up right here, but that's what your line should roughly look like. Plotting -3, oops, I think I went down one too many, so my line's actually messed up. I'll fix it here. Okay, my line was correct. It's just numbers are so tiny, I thought I misread a number. So your line should look roughly like this with the graphic. So the next one, we're going to write an equation of a line that goes through these 2 points, and we're going to put it in slope-intercept form. Your slope-intercept is going to be y equals mx plus b. So again, we can look for b, all right, using one of these points. We'll go ahead and do that here in a minute. Let's take a look at our slope first. Your slope, we're going to have x1, y1, x2, y2. We will have 10 minus 4 over 8 minus a -2. This will come out to a 3/5 slope. Now let's find b. Using our y equals mx plus b, we're going to plug in, I'm just going to use the x1 and y1. I'm going to plug in the -2 for x. I'm going to plug in the +4 for for y. So our y coordinate 4 equals your slope, which we just found was 3/5. Our x coordinate was -2 plus b. So we've just plugged in for y, m, and x using this coordinate these coordinates right here. So we're going to go ahead and say, all right, 4 equals 3/5 times a -2 is going to wind up coming out to a -6/5 plus b. Okay, we're just multiplying those two. And now we need to get b by itself, so I need to add 6/5. Again, you can put this into decimal form if you want to. I did not prior to the video, so I'm just going to go ahead and show you with the fraction. And you could just plug into your calculator, hey, what happens when I take 4 plus a fraction of 6/5? Your b is going to end up, I'm going to write it over here, your b is going to end up equaling in VUX. So here we have VUX, meaning x is going to equal a number. So guys, you don't need to do any sort of solving. Go up and look, what does your x coordinate equal? That is what the equation's all about. VUX is x equals a number, so x equals the x coordinate. That is all for undefined. Zero slope's the same thing, but you're looking at the y. Last one, we're going to do slope-intercept. Your y equals mx plus b. And we're going to do a line parallel, same slope. So m is going to equal the negative 3/4. And we're going to use the coordinates going to contain the, line containing the points negative 3, 6. So this is your x and this is your y, x1 and y1. I'm going to start, instead of going and finding b, I prefer to start in slope-intercept form. Sorry, point-slope form, and then convert to slope-intercept. So I'm going to start off with y minus y1 equals m parentheses x minus x1. This is what I prefer. You do you, okay? I'm going to go ahead and substitute in. I've got y minus y1, which was this positive 6, equal to my slope of parallel, same slope, negative 3/4, parentheses, x minus the x coordinate of negative 3. Okay, remember that this will convert to a plus 3. First things first, let's distribute that, the slope, 3/4, negative 3/4 x. And I'm going to take negative 3/4 and multiply it by a positive, give me a negative, 3. And I'm going to go ahead and leave this as a fraction for right now.